Good morning dear students. Today I am going to discuss about MCB chapter number 5, the Garden of Life Flowers. First of all, I want to discuss about the author. It is written by Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll was the pen name of Charles Ludwig Dodgson. He was born in a small village, Daresbury, in England. He was an English writer, mathematician, logician and photographer. He used to spend all his time writing for children or telling stories to them. Alice Adventures in Wonderland and his sequel Through the Looking Glasses are some of the widely read works of Lewis Carroll. The Garden of Life Flowers is an extract taken from Through the Looking Glass, which was published in 1871. This storybook is the second part of Alice Adventures in Wonderland. Before the story got published, Carroll used to make up these stories and tell to a little girl called Alice Liddell and her sisters. While playing the game of chess with the girls, he came up with the idea of many stories which are a part of these storybooks. In one of those storytelling seasons, Carroll created a world where Alice meets flowers that can talk. Now, I am going to tell you something about the text of the story. It is a story written by Lewis Carroll in which Alice acts as an explorer in Looking Glass world, recalling other explorers discovering new territories in the late Victorian era. When she meets the living flowers, she discovers not only that others do not share her assumptions, but that the native population perceives her as foolish. Alice's lack of knowledge about Looking Glass world creates a culture clash in which her confusion over the flowers' explanation of why trees have bark and bows inspires scorn in the flowers. Alice fails to understand in this chapter that she must do everything backward. She gets confused when the rose advises her to walk the other way to reach the Red Queen. Alice relates to the Red Queen how she is lost because she does not realize that in the mirror one has to move away from an object to get closer to it. The path seems to actively punish her for failing to understand the property of Looking Glass world, deliberately rearranging itself to get her off track, but also movement. The principle of inversion do not solely affect space and distance, but it also affects the movement. The faster Alice moves, the less distance she covers, so that when she runs, she never seems to leave her initial position. Dear students, this is some gist of the text. Now I am going to discuss the detailed summary of the chapter, The Garden of Life Flowers. Once outside, Alice climbs a nearby hill to get a better look at the garden near the house. However, every time she begins her journey to the hill, she finds herself back at the door to the house. Alice follows the path she believes will bring her to the garden, but no matter the direction in which she goes, she ends up back at the house. Eventually, she runs into a patch of flowers with a tree in the middle. She discovers that the flowers can talk, but they are quite rude, criticizing her lack of intelligence and her strange looks. Dismayed, she mentions her frustration to Tiger Lily, who surprises her by responding in perfect English. The Tiger Lily explains that all flowers can talk. The flowers think that she must be a flower as well, even if she looks wrong. As you all know that all the flowers can talk, the rose chimes in and mentions that Alice does not look very clever. Alice asks them if they feel at all vulnerable. They explain to her that they are protected by a nearby tree that will bark at any approaching thieves. The daisies begin caterwauling and Alice silences them by threatening to pick them. Alice learns from the flowers that there is another person like her in the garden. They describe the Red Queen, who now looks human and stands a head taller than Alice. The rose advises Alice to walk the other way, but Alice sets off towards the Red Queen, ending up back at the door of Looking Glass house. Once she sets off in the opposite direction, she eventually reaches the Red Queen. Alice looks around and sees the Red Queen, who has grown to a little taller than herself. Alice expresses interest in meeting the Queen, even though the flowers advise against it. But when Alice tries walking toward the Queen, she finds herself in front of the house again. This time, she tries walking in the opposite direction in which she wants to go, and she finds herself walking almost straight into the Queen. The Red Queen is friendly but overbearing when she strikes up a conversation with Alice. Alice explains her plight to the Red Queen and mentions the garden, which prompts the Red Queen to remark that she has seen gardens that would make this one seem like a wilderness. When Alice mentions the hill, the Red Queen states that she has seen hills to make this hill look like a valley. The Queen demands that Alice courtesy and call her Your Majesty when they speak to each other. Frustrated Alice tells the Red Queen that she speaks nonsense, but the Queen responded that she has heard nonsense that would make her claims seem as Alice tells the queen that she wants to get to the hill in the distance, and when the queen calls it a valley, Alice excuses her of speaking nonsense. But the queen only then claims that she is making sense. The Red Queen takes Alice to the hill. When the pair reaches the hill, she notices that the surrounding countryside resembles a giant chessboard. The countryside is divided into regular squares. She realizes that the whole world is a chess game, and she very much wants to join the game. Alice spots a game of chess happening on the chessboard and expresses her desire to join the game. The Red Queen tells Alice that she may stand in for the tiger lily as a white pawn. All of the sudden, she realizes that she and the queen are running, and when they slow down, the queen explains that in this world one has to run to remain in place. The two begin a brisk run but remain in the same place. Once finished with their run, the Red Queen explains the chess game to Alice. Alice starts at the second square and must travel through the other squares. A different character owns each square, and once Alice reaches the 8th square, she will become a queen herself. The queen assures Alice that she can play the game and that she can even eventually be a queen if she wants. She will start out as a pawn. However, the queen gives Alice some instructions as to where she will have to go and whom she will meet, and then with a few final words of advice, the Red Queen bids Alice goodbye and disappears.